this is, as the title said, this is kind of my version of what I would do for Victory Road. I did the Slammiversary kind of fantasy card, and actually I decided, and this was a couple weeks ago, that I would actually go through and do everything up to Bound for Glory. So I have everything written down, I have everything booked. So this is more of a response to that video. So yes, the card that you're going to see, while it is inspired by TNA, it also goes off of how I booked Slammiversary, not how TNA booked Slammiversary. So keep that in mind when going down. I have, just like in the last one, I have all the time that I've given the matches on the right, over in the, or on the right, well yeah, it is on the right, to the matches, including promo time, interview time, entrance time, all of that. That's so for all the people in the last video that apparently didn't hear when I said that, the match times include all of that. That is all of the time you are giving the match, not just the in-ring time. So keep that in mind. That said, here we go with Victory Road, which is of course the next pay-per-view, and here we go, and let's get started. We started. First match we're going to talk about is Sanjay Dutt versus Jay Lethal. This is pretty easy. Like I said on the last paper, like Slammiversary, I think that you do the wedding angle on Impact. You can do the same thing TNA did. Not a big problem there if it's on Impact. Which leads to this. Given that Lethal wants to kick the living crap now out of Sanjay Dutt, you go right to the no DQ match. This is what Jay Lethal wants, so he gets it. So we get Sanjay Dutt versus Jay Lethal in a no DQ match, except that Jay Lethal wants to kick the crap so much out of Sanjay Dutt that he makes a mistake at some point, doesn't put Dutt away when he could, and Dutt capitalizes and wins the match, which prolongs the feud for another pay-per-view. There we go. Of course, this pay-per-view, and I included this, is going to have the X Cup as a major part of it. So I have 3 matches that involve the X Cup, even though I believe there's only 4 teams. Those are Team Japan, Team USA, Team Mexico, or Team TNA, Team Mexico, and Team International. You do your series of matches, you lead up to Victory Road, where we have what's going to take place. Now, I do think you do need to have some sort of angle, some sort of story going through the X Cup, not as an overbearing, but just kind of as a back plot. You know, like you would a normal sporting event, where there's always backstories and things going on that are kind of, you know, stories that add to the drama of what's going on, very much like what you usually see in wrestling, except usually the stories sometimes oversee the matches. That wouldn't necessarily be the case here. It would be more like, you know, the Giants beating the Patriots and all the backstory that was with that sort of thing. And how I would do this is very much, I'd focus on 2 teams, Team Japan and Team Mexico. Basically have TNA hype up the fact they're bringing in Team Japan. Team Japan's going to be this collection of, I believe, it's either 3 or 4 promotions that they're bringing in. And so, you know, this is a star-studded lineup. They are definitely the team to beat. You know, Japan is where what we call the X Division is really started, where it was born, blah, 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 all that stuff that we've kind of heard before. To the point that when Team Japan shows up, they have this limo, they come up, all of the TNA officials are there to meet them, shake their hands, the whole bit. Limo leaves, this is on Impact after Slammiversary. Limo leaves, this taxi pulls up, Team Mexico gets out. The only ones there to talk to Team Mexico is Team LAX. Team LAX basically becomes the voice of Team Mexico. That way it gives LAX something to do, puts LAX back in the role they were when they were under Conan, and actually have them say things like, hey, you know, Lucha Libre is as much part of what the X Division is as the Japanese junior style is. Bring up the fact that, you know, the only reason why there aren't 2 promotions here for Team Mexico is because you screwed Conan. Basically say that, so that makes the fans go, ooh, makes the little antennas go up, makes it go, ooh, a little semi-shoot. You know, you can do things like that. It works. Hey, to the point of when we get to the pay-per-view, we have a 6-man tag match involving Team Japan and Team USA and Team Mexico versus Team International. The winners of those 2 matches, then their team captains will go head-to-head for the X Cup, and it will just be their team captains in a singles match. Where Team Mexico wins, you basically have Team Mexico earning, you know, what they feel, their pride and all of that sort of thing. So that's how I would book it. Again, you give LAX something they can do, try to get them out of that role I think they're in now, where they come off very much to me like wannabe Crime Time instead of, or Latino version of Crime Time instead of what LAX always was, and I think you can do that. The next match that I have is Motor City Machine Guns versus Team 3D. At SLAMMIVERSARY, I had Motor City Machine Guns go over LAX, which is why LAX is involved in the X Cup. Team 3D, I had win a #1 contenders match. They have their match here, which is one of the reasons why LAX is part of it, is because they have to have something to do. Basically, this is a very easy match. Team 3D doesn't believe that Motor City Machine Guns deserve the respect. They say you haven't done anything unless you've beaten us in a tag team title match, sort of thing. Motor City Machine Gun is trying to get their respect. Very easy match, very easy feud to kind of book. You get to the pay-per-view. Motor City Machine Guns beat Team 3D. Team 3D goes crazy, uses chair shots, Motor City Machine Guns, and then 3Ds, both of them, through a table, which leads to a table match at the next pay-per-view. Easy. Next, we have Booker T versus Christian Cage for the #1 contendership for the world title. This I set up because I think Booker T should go over in his hometown, but I don't think he should win the world title from Joe. So you put him versus Cage, that way when he comes out, because he is going to get somewhat of a face pop, you let him go over, you let him have a good little match, you let him be able to, you know, have a little bit of glory in his hometown. Because I got news for you, a lot of what the ticket sales is probably going to revolve around Booker T. Next we have Kaz versus Hernandez. I had Kaz beat P.D. Williams at SLAMMIVERSARY, which leads to this. Hernandez, after losing the title, the fact that they have to wait to get their title shot again, decides he wants to go after the X Division title. He pretty much, you know, what him and LX are talking about the X Division and Lucha Libre and that sort of thing, he wants to go after the X Division title. Also, Houston is Hernandez's hometown, so Kaz versus Hernandez. Very basic, very easy match. Not a very long match because I'm not too sure how long Hernandez can go in a singles match, so I just gave it, you know, maybe 10 minutes. But I would have Hernandez go over in his hometown. The reason for that is to start putting in people's minds that the X Division isn't necessarily a juniors division. So that's why. Next we have AJ versus Angle, part 2. This would be a submission match. Basically, you have to use a submission hold to win the match. Have Angle win this one through either Karen interfering, somebody interfering. You can do that here because you've already had AJ beat Angle clean. So now you can have Angle beat AJ non-clean. It's not the main event. It'll kind of work, I think. A lot of people go, oh, but you usually gripe about interference in TNA. Interference is okay when it's used right, and it adds to the match. It doesn't take away from the match, or it adds to the feud. It doesn't take away from the feud. Too often TNA does interference, and it takes away from the match, or it takes away from the feud. So kind of so that's why I would do it that way. Next we have Joe versus Kevin Nash. Now on my SLAMMIVERSARY thing, I talked about Joe, that I would have Joe versus Jarrett here. Well, I kind of changed my mind, and I thought that it would be better if Jarrett comes out with Nash, says, hey, the whole thing was basically, I didn't want you being the man, the only person who ever get the title from, you know, defend successfully his title at King of the Mountain. That would overshoot my, Jeff Jarrett, legacy of being the only two-time winner. And him and Nash being friends even back in the early TNA. Add that to it. Nash says that I want a tag team title. I want a world title shot. This is the only way I can get it. The only way you're going to get Jeff Jarrett is if you can go through me first, because Jeff Jarrett's retired and Jeff Jarrett wants to stay retired. But if you beat me, Jarrett will come out of retirement and will face you. Now you've given Joe kind of some stuff to go after Nash. You give this 10 minutes. Nash can't go very long, but it's the spectacle of seeing Joe versus Nash. I think people would like to see that. Have it be fun. Have it be overbooked. You can overbook. Anyone that says you that overbooked, craziness isn't fun, go look at WrestleMania 17 with McMahon versus McMahon. It worked there. It could work here. Probably not to that extent, but you can overbook it and it still be fun. You have Joe go over. Everybody kind of goes home happy. You've had your two hometown guys win. There we go. Rant, rave, do whatever you want to do. I'm out. Later.